going to start off with some mass sightings. One of my favorites is in 1942, where there's an incident called Battle over Los Angeles. And it's where this large object appeared in the sky around 2 a.m. and the city of Los Angeles went into blackout mode because they believed they were being attacked by enemy bombers. They weren't sure if it was the Japanese or some sort of other Axis power, but the Los Angeles Times actually has this photograph that shows the object sitting in the sky above the city. And you can see the anti-aircraft lights fixated on it. You can also see the tracer rounds colliding with it too. You can see it around this object. And the city remained in blackout mode for over 5 hours as the military fired more than 1,400 rounds at this object. And we're not talking about small munitions. We're talking about large anti-aircraft ballistic rounds.
Black cannons, I'm sure.
Yeah, like huge. And after they lifted the blackout at 7 a.m., they didn't find any wreckage. No aircraft debris, nothing. And when you go into Wikipedia, they say something like, you know, the military was very jittery after a number of other surprise attacks, and they saw something in the sky and they just started firing randomly.
Well, I mean, look at the photo. All the lights are fixated on one object.
And we'll throw this photo up, but that's exactly it. Like, they said it was a weather balloon or something like that, but all of the lights are fixated on this object over the city, and this object remained above the city for about 5 hours. And when the military reported that it was a weather balloon and the military was just kind of jittery and they fired randomly into the sky, all these people came forward and said, no, we saw the lights fixated on this object. Like, we know it wasn't just nervousness of World War II. Going from there, we have the 1952 Washington UFO Flap. And this was one of the more intense public sightings. Shortly before midnight on Saturday, July 19th, 1952, Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base spotted 7 slow-moving objects that were out of the way from any civilian or military aircraft patterns. Then they both witnessed, and I quote, these objects speed up to 11,000 kilometers per hour.
Jeez.
To put that into perspective, the fastest jet in the world today, and this was in 1952, but the fastest jet in the world today is the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, which can travel at 3,500 kilometers per hour. So these objects were moving at 11,000 kilometers per hour. And both Andrews Air Force Base and Washington National Airport thought it was a joke until these objects stopped over the Capitol building. And honestly, if I saw something booking across the radar like that, I would think it was a glitch too. But at that point, the military scrambled interceptor jets to try and take these objects down. And in several of the cases, these objects would visually appear and disappear. This encounter happened for about 8 hours from start to finish. So again, this isn't some brief encounter. This isn't some blip in the sky that lasted for a minute or two. This is another mass sighting encounter that lasted for 8 hours. Right, that's a long time. People witnessed these lights over the Capitol building. The fighter jets reported that these objects would pivot on 90-degree arcs, which is impossible for our aircraft, even our most advanced aircraft that we're aware of in common usage for the military. And there was no trail as well. So yeah, there's lots of other incidents we can cover as well. There's the Rendlesham Forest incident, the Phoenix Lights, the Costa Rican government survey photos, NASA's discovery footage. Recently, the Pentagon released 2 previously classified videos of these objects appearing on 2 fighter pilots' radar. And this is where the Congress disclosure comes in. These objects were booking it across the ocean. And in this report, they fully admit that they have no idea what these objects are.
See, and that's big. So I know a lot of people had big expectations about this disclosure. I don't know why we have expectations for these things anymore, but, you know, some people were obviously hoping they were going to come out and just say, we're
aliens
in contact with
real.
aliens. Yeah. But clearly that's not the case. But the fact that they were willing to admit that some of these things, they don't know what they are, that's actually big. Because, I mean, here the federal government of the United States is admitting that they don't know what these are.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And in that report, a lot of debunkers of UFOs over time have said that, maybe these objects are enemy drones, experimental drones being flown in North America, or other unidentified objects. But this report actually breaks down into different categories. And one of the categories is drones, and their final category is unknown.
Yeah.
And a large quantity of these sightings are unknown. And remember, for these videos, I think they're called the Tic Tac videos. These are trained fighter pilots. These are fighter pilots who have been trained to engage with enemy drones and take down enemy drones, can barely track these objects on their radar. And in the other fighter pilots' audio recordings, you hear him say there's a whole fleet of them. Now, Congress didn't release those videos, but it's this object that is just booking it across the ocean, and the trained fighter pilots are like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Like, it's something that's completely unfamiliar to them.